This week, the devil might be in the details, literally. As rumors swirl, release dates drop, and iconic franchises take wild turns, we're unpacking the truth behind the chaos across Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and everything else in cinema today on Fundamentals. Hey, hey, how's it going?
Hello. So happy to be here. Thank you for
Definitely.
joining us, Kent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so y'all ready to kick us off with some Marvel today?
Let's go.
So, two universes, one cataclysmic showdown. Are the X-Men about to collide with the Avengers in Avengers Doomsday? Man, there's some great pictures that's been released. We've talked about them, over the past couple of weeks.
hmm
But one thing that seems to be keep coming back stronger and stronger and leaning more towards it is that Monica Rambeau might be getting saved, and these some Marvel characters going into this X-Men universe and pulling her
Yeah.
out. We've seen the scenes, of the set release photos where the big fight takes with the Sentinels. Supposedly Doom's controlling the Sentinels and they fight the X-Men. But there's been a rumor that we see the Marvel's ship kind of crashed in that scene as well. And
hmm
so we're really thinking that that is where we see at the end credit scene of the Marvels, that universe where the X-Men are. So I really hope,
Yeah, and I
because
mean, honestly, it makes sense because at the end of the Marvels in the end credit scene, we
right,
got to see Kelsey Grammer's Beast again, right?
right,
And if we are getting Kelsey Grammer again in Avengers Doomsday, it only makes sense that we are going to see Monica Rambeau again. And their Earths or their worlds, rather, their universes are going to
hmm,
collide. And then we're going to get one giant massive fight.
yeah. I hope this is what's going on. I do, just because simple fact we get like the OG Fox X-Men characters, but play the more comic accurate ones from this universe. I think that would be a perfect way to give a blended homage and nostalgic feel for people who love the 90s, X-Men animated series with the comics, and then also who love the original cast but mix them in, and that's where this universe takes place. I think it's just smart, especially since we
Mhm.
know, like with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, this is pretty much going to be the final goodbye to anything like that happening again.
Allegedly. Kent, how
Allegedly, yeah.
familiar are you with Marvel, like X-Men and the Marvels
Um, I'm
movies?
I'm pretty familiar with it. I think a lot of the fans out there have been waiting for this to happen,
Yes.
just because there's been so many X-Men movies, and then the focus went to Marvel on all the other stuff, and so a lot of the fans are like, "All right, when is this finally going to happen?" And I think this is now the time
Mm.
uh, that it's all going to come together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody wants to see Professor Xavier, who's going to do it, and then also how it's going to clash in with all the other Marvel movies.
hmm
Yeah, I think so. I think this is going to be the one, like you said, that everybody's been waiting for. We've gotten little sprinkles. We got, Patrick Stewart back in Multiverse of Madness, and then bam, next snap dead. We've gotten some of these others. We have now Hugh Jackman with from Deadpool Wolverine and that tease, but like I don't feel like they've really gave us that those scenes and like these big, huge, not debuts, but I guess. I don't know, just the mesh up. We've gotten sprinkles of it. We haven't got that full effect, and so I truly think that's what this is going to be. I think it's going to be a lot more than what we've seen so far in the MCU, and it's going to be the biggest collaboration to date. Which we know the Russo brothers, they got to make this more iconic, like we said before, than the last set of Avengers movies. So to me, that would really help set this, the bar higher than what we've seen before.
Yeah. And I swear to God, if they kill Sir Patrick Stewart again as Professor Xavier, I'm gonna throw hands.
That would be
I
the
don't know who
third.
I have to throw hands to, but I am upset.
So that would be the third. If that's the case, that'll be the third time we've seen this man die on screen.
Yeah. No,
True.
wait. This will be fourth, right? Because he died in Logan. He died in
Oh my God, yeah, it will be the
Multiverse of
fourth.
Madness. He died
Yes.
in X-Men 3
Yeah, it would be the
because he
fourth. Yeah.
like
Well,
came apart.
third time's the charm, so maybe three's enough, and he'll get to live on this one.
Or
Or
at
he'll
least
just
go
go
at it
ahead.
and knows how to do it in a professional way. So they're like, oh, let's just keep going on. Like he knows how to do it in a good professional way.
Right. Or to say like, or maybe it won't be a singular death. He may just die with his whole universe, with this whole universe dying, and they all die together. So since we're talking about incursions and stuff, but man,
That would be so
so
sad.
our Ironheart is 2 days away. We'll have
Yes.
the 3 episode debut on Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, is Marvel finally unleashing Mephisto? And Sacha Baron Cohen, is he playing him like we keep talking about the rumors?
Mhm.
I don't know. We have so much stuff that's out with Ironheart almost daily that keeps coming out. But my
Yeah,
time to
it
shine,
makes sense.
hello, is she's the one that's really still sticking to that scoop. She's the one that has been saying it for a while that he is still playing Mephisto and Ironheart. We've had talks that maybe they cut that part out since this was filmed back in 2022, I think, or 2021.
Yeah.
And talk has kind of died down about it when it was pretty hot and heavy, but I don't know. We'll see because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's going out right now. Plus, we
I don't know,
have
man.
the
Yeah,
episode
the
titles.
red M. Yeah.
Yes, yes. We have let's see, the red M right here on episode 5, Karma's a Glitch. It's the only letter on this whole thing that Marvel released that actually is highlighted in red.
Yeah, because they have M's all throughout it. Like you saw the
Hmm.
episode 4 said bad magic, and the magic for the M there, completely normal, completely sane.
Right.
So is it Mephisto, or because we talked about it last episode, is this Wanda? I know M is
Well,
Mephisto, and I get that, but like the red magic, right?
Yeah, I think it's
we've
definitely.
burned we've been burned by Mephisto teasers since WandaVision,
Yeah.
but this one feels deliberate. And if
Okay.
Marvel's finally pulling the trigger and trying Mephisto to tech and karma loops, then next level storytelling is a perfect clash for Riri because of the logic versus demonic chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're legitimately going to get it this time. Like, I hope, I'm praying, because like you said, we've had
But if it's
so
not,
many teasers since WandaVision. We got the devil's in the details, Deb. From WandaVision. We even got it teased in Ms. Marvel, where they did the
Spider-Man.
little
Oh,
devil
yep.
horns.
Spider-Man, he also had the devil horns on him.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that's right. On the poster that was being held when he was walking through, we've had it teased
Mhm.
so many times, and I don't know. This feels like the most legit teasers leading up to it. So I'm hoping this is it again, and not just another "we're going to leave you out here hanging" type thing.
well, the title alone sounds like something Mephisto would whisper right before dragging someone into hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now fans are pointing out the red M in the title art. So come on, Marvel, just say it with your chest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Let's go.
And
And
we also.
if it's not Mephisto, then Marvel's trolling us really hard. But if
Again.
it is, you heard it right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, with Ironheart, we had a little Good Morning in America interview we had going on, and Robert Downey Jr. sit there and kind of made a surprise little clip that they played for them, and pretty much gave his stamp of approval, stamp of support, I guess, for Ironheart passing on the mantle type thing, and
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool. They did the old heart thing back and forth right
Yeah.
here.
And he was like, Iron Man loves
Nice.
Ironheart, and she's like, Ironheart loves Iron Man, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and I think too, from like, you always have, both sides of the fence out there, your naysayers on everything back and forth between Marvel. I think this was just another good thing to kind of put it out there to just show that support, right? And to kind of
Mhm.
show, there is no comparison. This is not a competition. This is a passing of the mantle type thing. It takes place in the comics. It should be taking place in the movies, and everybody should get ready to embrace it.
Yeah,
But
especially because James Gunn just did his interview where he kind of, called some Marvel people lazy. So, it's good to see the love is still out there.
yeah, for sure. And speaking of the Ironheart episodes, we'll kind of go over those real quick.
Hmm.
So when it debuts on June 24th, We got the first one, Take Me Home. Number 2 is Will the Real Natalie Please Stand Up? And
Mm-hmm.
We Endanger Girl. And then the next half of the season is dropping the following week on July 1st, which is Bad Magic, Karma's a Glitch, and The Past is the Past. So,
I can't wait for that because like that's literally it's like a July 4th weekend, so like, I'll have time off that I can actually like pay attention and really digest these episodes. So I'm really excited about that.
yeah, it's interesting to see Marvel playing around with these episode drops the way they have been, instead of going just the normal one episode a week.
Hmm.
Since we had what was the last season we just dropped? Oh, Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You
No, it was
know,
Daredevil after that.
yeah, and then Daredevil. Both of those, though, they've been doing different stuff and different drops. Where
Hmm.
we get the 2 episode premiere, the 2 episode finale. Daredevil actually did one in the middle, which was definitely different. I think they did was it 2 or 3 episode drop in the middle? I think
Too.
2, yeah. And
Yeah.
now we're getting a full season dropped in 2 weeks, which is different. But
Different. But
yeah,
it's not like Echo where they just dropped everything on the one day.
this is true.
So I think they're just trying to play around with
I
it
kind
to
of
see
like
where their
when they drop
numbers get the
everything
most.
all in one day.
What's that?
I like when they drop everything all in one day because I'm a binge watcher. I'd rather just
Yeah.
watch it all at one time and get it over with versus like,
Hmm.
oh, I gotta wait another week. Now what I'm
Yeah.
gonna
I
do?
like what
Flip
they
to a
did.
different channel.
Well, I like what they did with Andor, because it's still Disney, right? So,
Hmm.
Disney released Andor in sets of 3, right? So then they
It
had like
was 3. Yeah.
four different like weeks, and I mean, like that way you could binge those 3 episodes before you would have to digest because that's 3 hours, right?
Right.
Or like however long those episodes were, I completely forget, maybe
It's pretty
45
close.
minutes.
Yeah.
But like 3 hours is a lot for me to just like sit there and just like have to do it, and especially because like I want to talk about it on the podcast. That I know that if they released all, let's say, 6 episodes for this, that would be 6 hours, and July 1st is, if I'm right, it's on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So like
I think so.
to do that and work before Sunday, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how I'm supposed to do this. Sweat.
Yeah. I think 3 is good. 2 to 3 is good a week. You do more than that, we feel the pressure, especially trying to cover more than that on each episode each week. So I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. But I think Netflix, like when Netflix drops the full seasons completely, it spoiled me. My patience is tried when it's drug out over too long.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're doing like a 12-week thing, a single episode drop. Oh my god! Like I'm just
Yeah.
itching halfway through that week to get the next episode already.
Well, back before I wasn't doing podcasts, like I'm exactly like Kent. Like I want it all immediately so I can enjoy it and get to it when I want to get to it. But now I'm having to wait, and I hate waiting. I hate waiting. And now I'm like having to wait all the time. Because what I used to do is I would just wait for all the episodes to come out and then I would binge them. Like if Agatha all along, like if I was gonna, like that's normally what I would do. But
Yeah.
now since I do the podcast with you, I'm like, I have to keep up. I have to wait. This is the worst.
See, I couldn't do that. I'd be like, all right, like Reacher came out, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna hold
Mhm.
off, and I waited till all 8 episodes came, and then I was like, all
Mhm.
right, binge watch,
Yeah.
and did it in a week.
Yeah.
So
See, it's a bittersweet thing for me because I will say like I have no self control when a full season is dropped, and Blake will lose so much sleep and will be sleep deprived for at least 2 or 3 days until I've knocked it all out.
Yeah, we saw that with Righteous Gemstones, where you had 3 seasons that you
Yeah.
had to watch before the last one
I
came
caught
out.
myself watching that till 2 or 3 in the morning because it was so funny. But
Oh
like,
yeah, it was
but
great.
there also was like a storyline, to follow with. And you wanted to know where this was going. So on top of a storyline and great comedy, oh my god, I think I watched 3 seasons in what 2 weeks.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
Yeah.
you're insane. Because I don't know how you did it, but you did it.
Let's see. So if you missed Thunderbolts in theaters, July is your second chance to watch and catch every twist, especially the game-changing ending. But it will actually be out on physical release July 1st, And let's
Oh no, the
see.
physical release
Oh,
is the 29th. The
yeah, July
digital
29th.
release,
That's right.
yeah, is the first. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
No, no problem.
And
But to be
we
clear for everybody out there, that means it's different than streaming. So
yes.
streaming and digital and physical releases. Digital is like you can buy it on like your Apple TV, your Prime Video, those kind of platforms. And then physical release, actual DVD copies, because yes, they still make those in Blu-ray. And then in like I guess August-ish, September. We don't have an exact date yet, but we'll get back to you on when we get that. And that's when it would be coming out onto Disney Plus to actually
Right.
stream.
Yeah, I don't know what I was about to say. Wow. I just literally drew a blank. But
It
no,
happens.
I'm ready for it to be on Disney Plus. Like this was a movie I think I went and seen 3 times in theaters when it came out. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, no, I absolutely did enjoy it too. I look forward to watching it again. And I think it might be a movie that I actually buy, not in July because I have way too many things happening in July. Like I showed Blake
A lot.
yesterday, I bought my Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four tickets for all yesterday for me and my husband AD, and that was a big chunk of change because going to the theaters to watch those three movies in like week after week after week because they rack and stack them. Uh, I am poor again. So I think that come August, like I would definitely be looking at watching Thunderbolts again. So I'm excited
Yeah,
about that.
July's a big month, not even for just cinema, but also streaming. There's so many things
Yeah.
also on streaming that's releasing the month of
Yeah,
July.
you have Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, that too. I can't remember what it was, but there's something else that we're looking forward to that we talked about a week or two ago as well. What is it?
Spaceballs too.
Well,
Is that coming out in July? I thought that was next year.
No, that's not coming out. I was just looking forward to seeing that one.
Oh
That one's
yeah,
gonna be awesome.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
most definitely. So there might be a new runner-up. So sorry, Swifties, but Sabrina Carpenter looks like she's about to steal the Dazzler spotlight in the X-Men universe. That is now who the new next rumor is of playing Dazzler. But I'm curious, is this true? Or is it that every most popular blonde singer is just going to be rumored to be Dazzler until we see Dazzler on screen, if ever? So I don't know. We'll see.
I got a couple points on that there, Blake. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter versus Taylor Swift, who'd be better at Dazzler? I mean, just age alone. Sabrina's in her 20s and perfect for long-term roles, where Taylor's in her 30s and better suited for cameos or multi-universe versions and stuff like that. Then
Yeah.
if you go into acting skills, Sabrina's got Disney and Netflix credits, and she's a legit triple threat where Taylor's acting not so seasoned.
Right. This is true.
And then the Dazzler energy. Dazzler is flashy, she's fierce, she's fun. Sabrina nails that with the vibe, and then Taylor's persona is more poetic and moody, so not quite that disco superhero. Now, underdog factor. Sabrina is still rising, just like Dazzler in most X-Men stories. Taylor Swift's already a global icon, so she could overshadow most of the roles.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking at the franchise, Sabrina's age, energy, versatility, making her a strong candidate for the multi-film contracts. She can sing, she can act, she can throw down an action. So I think, she's a good fit for it and would be perfect. And then bottom line, Swift might cameo, but Sabrina becomes Dazzler.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see, if that being said, though, do you think Dazzler is a character we'll see on screen for a long time if we get her, though? Like, because, she's not like one of the main lines, but she's also not even a B. I think she's more of a C and D character. So, but we've seen like James Gunn, bring the Guardians and make them, they were kind of like that, but made them a big, fan favorite now. So, I mean, that can still happen. I'm just curious to see like how heavy, if they bring her in the MCU, how heavy her character will be and how long her storyline will go.
It depends on how the fans take it. I mean, if there's a huge following and it does really well in the box office, I think
Yeah.
it'll have some longevity to it, and there'll be more of it that you see.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm.
And Sabrina, I mean, she's one of the most. I mean, like she's everywhere. I can't get her off my news feed. I mean, she's constantly making headlines. So, like, even if you like, you also would bring like her whole entire fan base over to the MCU that may not even be MCU people that will support her just because it's something she's in. And if it
Hmm.
makes them enough money, she may become a new icon for MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that with like a couple of other people. Like when we were talking to Vincent M. Ward, and he was talking during the celebrity interview that we had done. He had said that like he like during The Walking Dead, like you only have this little role, but people like you, and now it's like continued. And we've seen
Mm,
that also with Nicole Sullivan, right? When we interviewed her, because she was supposed to be a one-off character, and now
right.
all of a sudden it's like a very big character, right? She is like the character, the villain, even though Draco is too. But like I just love that like uh movie theaters and producers, and they just like really pay attention to what the fans want and what they really are thriving on. But thank you so much, Kent, for that like breakdown, because I didn't even think
Yeah.
about half of those things.
Yeah. No, it makes sense too. I mean,
Yeah, I
everything you
saw that.
said.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna break that down. Yeah.
So the man
Well, and
behind
again,
Thunderbolts. Oh no, go ahead.
Thunderbolt. So no, I would just say I'm bringing it. I think she does better all around because again, Taylor Swift is such an icon, and she'll just I feel she'll like overshadow everybody if she's in
Mm,
there,
Hmm.
and all the Swifty fans will just go to see her and not really the story.
right. Yeah,
So
they actually find out like what time frame her scenes are, and they walk in that, and they walk out of the theater afterwards.
I would get so upset as somebody that actually goes to theaters, because I hate it when people walk around. Like it
Yeah,
detracts me from like the actual screen itself.
yeah. So on to the next topic. The man behind Thunderbolts is now leading the charge for the next generation of X-Men. So what does that tell us about the tone? So we've actually heard the rumors, and we talked about it being rumored, but it's actually now confirmed. The source comes from Variety, and it's official. He now will be doing the new X-Men. I think this is a great choice. He showed us, he can bring multiple characters from different backgrounds, different stories, and do a really, really good job of directing and putting the story together. I mean, Thunderbolts was such a great movie. Great movie.
Hmm.
And I love the tone. I love the darkness too, but like he still had that blended comedy. I thought it was a good balance.
Yeah.
And I think with X Men, like you want that seriousness, but
Hmm.
also you do want these haha moments in there. But we've seen that some of these directors have really struggled with balancing that out well, such as Taika
Hmm.
Waititi. But anyways, and yeah, I think he's a great choice though. I think he I don't. I think the only thing I know of him doing before this is Beef. So I like that this may be like an up and coming thing to really, set his bar and set his resume off for keep
Yeah.
doing these things like this. What do y'all think?
So with Thunderbolts, like and we talked about it on the podcast after we had watched it, that I like something that I really enjoyed about Thunderbolts was the fact that it was so emotional. Like it had those emotional
Mm,
ties, and then it made you feel like superheroes are humans too, kind of thing.
right.
Like everybody deals with their own kind of darkness. I really enjoyed the fact that there was like a moral of the story kind of thing. And with X-Men, it's kind of one and the same, right? We want to know that mutants are also people too. So to have that feeling and that way that the director of Thunderbolts, like the way that he directed that movie, I feel like he could do really well, like with how X-Men would be portrayed, and really make us also feel that same kind of feeling. You know what I mean?
Right. No, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we also see, I mean, like a lot of the X-Men stories. I mean, they have a lot of emotional stories as well, and we see, what we've seen from the comics and from the animated series. I mean, the big thing is like how they're outcast and the
Hmm.
constant struggle that they do to do good against a society that hates them. So I think he would be perfect choice for doing this for live action.
Yeah, I mean, like if you really think about like the first X-Men, we got to see that with like Rogue and how she just wanted to be able to like touch her boyfriend, right?
Mm.
Say what you will about like the movies, and I know a lot of people don't like the movies, but I was like, wow, that's like really powerful. Is that like she just wants to be a normal girl, but also now she has these powers and she's having to deal with that, like, and how does she overcome that? And then she wants to take the cure that we ended up seeing, and I think it was X-Men 2. Um, and you had like the Brotherhood where Magneto's running it like, no, we don't need the cure. Everybody needs to become mutants. So like you have the two sides of every coin kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely. We got some, well, not some, a lot of Spider-Man news this past week. But starting off with that, Madam Hydra is crossing into the Spider-Man movie, probably. This could be possibly the darkest Peter Parker story yet we've seen. So we've had so many rumors of so many villains coming into this. And Madam Hydra, is also known as Viper. We actually got to see her, a version of her in the Wolverine. And there's also the rumor that the Silver Samurai could be in this as well, which is also from the Wolverine. And because they kind of go together, I mean, in a lot of the story arcs we've seen from the comics. But I'm curious to see like how many of these villains are true because we've seen Boomerang's supposed to be in it, Scorpion's supposed to be in it, Tombstone's supposed to be in it, and there's a comic book line. Well, I'm not actually going to talk about that comic book line until the next Spider-Man topic we talk about, and then because it kind of blends in with that. But what do y'all think? Do you think this is just a wild thing with Madam Hydra and Silver Samurai because we've seen them under Wolverine? Or do you think this would be a crossover that we might get them because they can be somewhat grounded street level villains we can deal with. I mean, they're not like crazy cosmic sources or super OP people. I mean, I could see him fighting against them.
Kent, do you have anything to add to this? Because I don't. Like I'm very much like I don't know.
I was gonna, I was gonna say there's no Green Goblin where he constantly battles against the Green Goblin. Where, in the Spider-Man universe, he fights people, once, twice, and that's about it.
Hmm.
But there's always those that always come back multiple times. So I don't see them being a long-standing role or a plot in that. So unfortunately, no.
Yeah, I'm curious to see because we know how when rumors usually start flying, especially like the heavy talked about like Spider-Man movies. It's insane the rumors that come across, and then once the product comes out, we're like, well, about 70% of that was not true. And it's not saying that it wasn't thought about because some of these sources can come by ideas that was actually had, but they just didn't make the final cut or it didn't make sense for it. So,
Hmm.
but one thing that's not rumored and is official though, Frank Castle is back. He's teaming up possibly with Spider-Man, but he'll be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and this probably just made Spider-Man Brand New Day definitely the most anticipated movie to watch. Probably like even with Avengers Doomsday, even though it doesn't have as big character lineup, this is a team up that fans have been wanting to see for a long time. And we also, I would not be shocked in the next couple of months if we don't get an announcement that Charlie Cox is in this, because what we've seen with Punisher, Daredevil soon to follow. Daredevil and Spider-Man team up is something that we have been like fans have been dying to see and been asking for. And I don't know. I just feel like this smells like Charlie Cox is going to be announced here soon all over it.
Well, Charlie has a huge fan base, and I know this because I've worked with him, and just the fans love him as Daredevil. I mean, he
Yeah.
stands out. He plays the role really well, just like John Bernthal plays the Punisher really well.
Hmm.
And I mean, you gotta love John because he plays that military role. I mean, from the accountant to
Yeah.
the Punisher to all the other ones. I mean, he plays a military guy, And that's what,
Yeah.
you know, Frank is in there, is a ex-military guy. And so he's out to punish. And I think John is a great actor in that role. We've sat down and talked about it a couple times, and he loves it. To him, it's just it just comes natural. He doesn't even have to act. He just gets to be himself in those roles.
I can't
Yeah.
wait to see him in Odyssey to see what his role is like in that. If he still
Yeah.
has got that like kind of like soldier-esque, like I don't know. I'm excited about Odyssey, man.
Well, and that's another thing that him and Tom Holland's co-starring in together. They're both in Odyssey. Now they're both in this. They were both in that 2017, 2018 movie together. That was, I can't remember. It was taking place like in the time roughly of like Odyssey. The Pilgrim, I think, or something Pilgrim, I think is what it was. But
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
yeah, so
I don't know.
so with Punisher being in this now, and what I was going to talk about while I go with all these villains. So there was a comic line called The Gang or something about the Gang, and it was a whole bunch of these street level villains that we've kind of heard, kind of talked about, and the Punisher and Spider-Man team up together in that comic run as well. Not only do we have that, but we know that Mark Ruffalo is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And in that comic run, She-Hulk teams up with the Punisher and Spider-Man against this gang of villains. So, either, I think Bruce will probably take place of the She-Hulk, from the comic run. Because we know they don't do page-from-page comic adaptations, but they use them for inspiration. And the original thing with Bruce being in this was like he was supposedly going to be the main antagonist. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think for Spider-Man, all the street level stuff, a Savage Hulk doesn't make sense to be that. I think it's going to be more of a team up. And, we've had rumors, and talks about that would make sense with them teaming up as well, because even though Bruce doesn't remember who Spider-Man's identity is since since No Way Home, the Hulk supposedly, could remember him because the Hulk is now an inner entity inside of Bruce, but so that spell didn't affect him. I don't know. I'm super excited. This movie we knew it's going to be great, but like it just in the past couple of weeks has really blown up from being on a whole different level. I'm equally excited for this than Avengers Doomsday, even though there's going to be a lot more in it Doomsday, just because, man, if we get a Daredevil, Punisher, and Spider-Man in the same movie, I can die a happy man. My life is complete.
Just throw Jessica Jones in there for me, and we're great. I'm right there with you.
That would be great.
I don't know how she would like fit in, but I figured it out.
They could do cameos with her in there.
Yeah, for sure. Especially knowing that she's going to be in season 2, and Spider-Man. The Spider-Man movie is taking place right after Daredevil season 2. So depending on what we see of her in season 2, I think it's super possible and super easy to see any of that Defenders crew especially her, primarily her, show up with if Daredevil and Punisher are both in this, and it taking place immediately after that season 2.
I feel like we would need to have Charlie Cox's Daredevil in Spider-Man in order for that to happen. But
it's going to
happen.
Who
knows?
It's going to happen. Come on.
And then you got to throw in Mike Coulter as Luke Cage as well, because he was part of that whole series and stuff like that. So let's just keep throwing more people in there. Jessica.
Yeah. Let's throw Vincent in there. Let's actually let Vincent be pulling the strings behind this gang of villains that are street level villains. Let him be actually putting them together. Like we need Kingpin on the big screen. Well, I mean, we enjoy him. What was that face for?
I think we have enough villains that we don't need to keep adding more to this.
But Kingpin's one of those that you always see behind the scenes pulling strings with a lot of villains and fights in different, titles in the comics and in the animated series. So I think he's one of those, like, it doesn't have to be like a big fight with him, but we get scenes with him pulling strings and putting a lot of these fights together.
Yeah, he's like the mob boss of all the mob, so he's got the bad villains underneath him, and you'll see them, but he's like the top guy that's pulling all the strings, like Blake says, and it would be, seeing him in there as well would be awesome.
I don't know. My hype level went from like 4 to 10 though with Spider-Man now. I'm just waiting for this Charlie Cox announcement.
When have you ever been a 4 for Spider-Man?
Okay, you're right. It went from 10 to 20. If I want to be
There you
honest,
go.
I was trying to be modest and keep it moderate, but like you're right, it went from 10 to 20.
Like, who are you talking to?
Another great hype thing, and I feel like dude sit there and might have like outspoke a little too much, but could Damson Idris be wearing the mantle next for Black Panther? His cryptic response has fans reading between the claws. So we see him on an interview. He gets asked, has Marvel talked to you about taking on the mantle of the next Black Panther? And his response actually was, yes, no. And so, yeah, I don't think you say that without someone talking to you. And then they're like, all right, if you said yes, no, that has to be a yes. And he's like, I'm not saying that. He's like, it could be no. He's like, but you just didn't say no. And then then he's like, okay. He goes, let me ask this: if Marvel asked you to be the next Black Panther, would you say yes? He's like, yes. I think this guy, we talked, I think last week about us getting a Black Panther from another universe, and that being part of Secret Wars or a Doomsday that we see. I think that's definitely going to be him. As long as they come to a good negotiation and contract agreement, I think he would be a good fit. I think he's got the acting chops to pull it off, and yeah, I think this is definitely heading in the right direction for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed watching. It was another Good Morning America interview, wasn't that?
Oh, was it Good Morning America? I didn't know. I
pretty
almost
sure
said
it was. Because it's that logo. It's the same.
Right. Well, think about it. Disney
logo.
owns, Disney's in with them, so that would make sense that they're letting some of this stuff come out on Good Morning America because it's all owned by Disney.
Okay.
ABC, I believe, is owned by Disney now, right?
I don't know. I don't get into that. I don't know.
I think they have some kind of ties, some kind of business ties. But let's see. So Marvel just dropped a mysterious 2028 date, and the internet's already screaming that this could be Secret Wars Part 2. And the Russo brothers have also talked about, having a secret that they have not told as well. And people are like, that could be an announcement that we might be getting a Secret Wars Part 2. And that they're like, this is just kind of another piece of the puzzle to possibly confirm these. We have a lot of people saying that this could be the X-Men date, that this could be a Fantastic Four 2, that this could be Blade.
Black Panther 3.
And Black Panther 3. But what's y'all's thoughts on this? Do you think that we could be getting a huge announcement of this being a Secret Wars Part 2? Because Secret Wars story needs to be so long it's impossible to tell it properly in one film? Or do you think people are just going too crazy outside the box and this could be one of these other film titles we just mentioned?
I think a lot of it's going to come out. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's no Hall H this year at San Diego Comic-Con, but I feel there are going to be some things dropped at San Diego Comic-Con that will point to this and give you a yes or no on that.
Okay.
And we're literally like a couple of weeks away from that happening, so that'll be a good subject during that time.
Yeah, we're literally a month away from that, but I don't know. Like, I get that the new hype is to do part 1s and part 2s of movies like they did with Wicked, and like even earlier on you had the Twilight series, you had Breaking Dawn that split into 2. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that like I don't know if that's what they want to do for this. Like I would be more interested to see a Black Panther 3, because we know Denzel Washington's going to be in it. It's going to be one of his last acting roles until he retires. And I just like, I want like, and the new X-Men, like, and I feel like we should start focusing on that. I don't know if Secret Wars is going to need 2 parts. So I'm headed more towards the latter, I guess.
Sure. I'm going to jump on that train of I want to be a second part of Secret Wars. So Secret Wars is such a big story and there's so much going on in it. Like give us 2 3-hour movies. I mean, this is going to finalize that saga. I mean, and we have two sides of the fence with the multiverse saga, right? And the first half of the multiverse saga, not everybody feels like it was so as strong as what the Infinity Saga was. And let's be honest, it wasn't as strong as that saga. So let's like finish it off strong and big. And we have the Russo brothers on. Like they finished off the Infinity Saga great. Let's do a 2-part Secret Wars. Because here's the other thing. Like in 2028, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have 4 untitled slates in 2028 now. The first one starts in February, and then we have 3 other dates throughout that year for Marvel. So we literally have almost a date that just opened up on the Marvel slate for 2028. That could be almost every single title that this possibly could be. Give us a part towards 2 Secret Wars. Like, don't try to cram it all in a 3-hour movie. Let's just. I know Doomsday is starting that story, but I feel like Secret Wars is going to have somewhat of a differentiation of the storytelling, angles where they're going between those 2 films. And I would love to see a 2-part film for Secret Wars.
Okay.
But last topic for Marvel today: Blade isn't dead. Thank God. He's just fashionably late. The Daywalker is officially slicing his way back onto the slate. We have a new source from a new topic from source of Variety. Variety we know is super strong, super reliable, and usually things aren't official. Unless they're official, Variety won't report them. They're not like a hearsay news source. But they said Blade is back in development and is to release sometime in 2028. So once again, we have those 4 slates, that are open now for Marvel in 2028. Man, Blade has been struggling. We went back. We've covered Blade since it was announced. I think this was announced in 2019, 2020 at Hall H, Marvel, I believe, is when it was announced. Mahershala Ali, still on board. He's not been happy with a lot of the scripts. I think it's been through 2 writers, 2 directors now. Obviously, we want this to be done right, but at a certain point, how many times are you going to keep scrapping things and retrying? So they're back on board again, supposedly.
I don't believe it. I don't care. I'm just like, yeah, no, just give me Midnight Suns, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, that's what I would love to see, actually. As we talked last week, I know a lot of people are torn between this. They want to see Blade before Midnight Suns because Blade would be in that. But I actually love the take of introducing Blade. Well, let's be honest. Blade actually has already been introduced, if you want to call it end credit scene from Eternals, when the Black Knight, played by Jon Snow, can't think of his proper name right now, opens up that case with the sword in it. And, we hear Mahershala Ali speak in the background and says something like, are you ready for this? Are you ready to take this on or whatever? I would love to see him in Midnight Suns, and then we can come out with a Blade solo film after that, to really hone in more on his story. And I'm curious to see like where they're going to take this Blade story after we've been through so many rewrites, because the initial writing of his story was going to take place in the 1920s, and it was going to be a thing in the past, and then I think it ends with present day type thing. So I don't know. And then we were also going to have the story of it was going to be Blade mentoring his daughter. That was going to be, I think, the second rewrite is what it was going to be of present day. So I don't even know where this is going, but I think Midnight Suns would kind of maybe establish more of where it could go.
Yeah, and it would just bring him to the screen without like having to solidify the fact that we're getting like a standalone project with him. Because what if the standalone project is absolute trash? What if, right? What if it is? And then Midnight Suns is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and it's everything we wanted it to be. But because we got Blade first,
it affected the Midnight Suns viewings and
sales. And that's like, I don't know. It's kind of like how I'm figuring out with like DC is that like, like you have Justice League and maybe it wasn't perfect and wasn't what we wanted it to be, but then we had like the standalones that, I don't know. There's just thoughts, questions that I have.
Yeah.
I don't know. It also depends on how they write it. Because we've had the Blade that was dark and mysterious, and then you had the comedic one with Ryan Reynolds, and it's like, is this really a Blade movie? So it's just like they've got to do it right and make it what Blade was written for.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. I don't think after everybody keeping up with it and being super public with it, the rewrites, the directors, the writers they went through, I don't think it has the option to be trash. I don't think like they've went through this long of drawing it out and dragging us along and dragging Mahershala Ali along, that they can't make a bad one. Like if they take this long and they put a trash Blade out, Marvel will never live that down. But
what I would love to see, and this is just me, when you do, again, they make so many sequels and repeat these movies over and over. It's like, come on, get some original stuff. But I love to see like Wesley Snipes in there somewhere as a little cameo, homage to the first and the other ones and stuff. Just like when they do other movies, I wish they would have cameos of the original actors that started that role, even though they're continuing the series and they're using a different actor and things like that. I just feel that it would pay homage to the original actor that was in it. And so just to see Wesley Snipes just, kind of like Stan Lee. Oh, hey, kid, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Know.
Well,
100%. We talked about it before that I was talking about with not Daredevil, sorry.
Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. Yeah. Ghost Rider, and having Nicolas Cage be the Sam Elliott of like showing the new Ghost Rider, like how to be Ghost Rider. I don't know. I always thought that would be cool. So I'm absolutely there.
I would love for us to get a Wesley Snipes cameo in it, and let it be a cameo to address the line he said from Deadpool Wolverine, but there's only one blade, there's only ever going to be one blade, and let him kind of like go back on his statement that he made, in like a funny way, but then also like in a way of showing support of the mantle also being passed on to Mahershala Ali. But they need to hurry up, because Mahershala Ali, he's no young cat. Like he's literally only 11 years younger than Wesley Snipes, I think, and so yeah. they need to hurry up with this. And it also makes me wonder, like, if they will eventually maybe go on to the story from the comics with bringing in his daughter because of his age, and maybe having him in 2 or 3 films only instead of like a 10-film, contract like some of these people have been. And then he's like in 3 films, and then we kind of get, a version of her. So I don't know. But y'all ready to talk about some DC? Do you like that? I seen you laugh. But let's see. So, man, James Gunn. This guy is not quiet. Maybe he shares too much, but I'm here for everything he wants to share and how much he wants to be on socials. Like, literally, I feel like every day we're getting more and more stuff, like posts or things he's addressing. But, yeah, she's no longer the woman of tomorrow, so why did Gunn drop the subtitle and simplify Supergirl's name? So we kind of mentioned that this happened last week, but we didn't talk about why. And James Gunn said he just really hates the whole colon thing, subtitle. He's like, I think it's overdone. I think it's, uncalled for, unnecessary. He's like, so therefore, that's why I dropped Legacy off Superman. That's why I'm dropping Woman of Tomorrow off this. And let's be real, Batman, Bold and the Brave, it may just end up being Batman by the time it releases, so...
Yeah. I mean, like I said last week, because that's when like all of this happened. Is that like I was like, okay. I mean, like it is just Supergirl. Like, that's like that's fine with me. He doesn't have like another one coming out like that anytime soon. And Batman for the Matt Reeves is still just Batman Part 2. So
right,
it's fine with me.
Yeah, main thing is, as long as the movie's good, who cares really what the title is, as long as the movie's good. So, and we're this close to finding out how good, hopefully how good, his first live action series is going to be starting in blossoming this new DC universe. So, we're just a few weeks away. What are we, 2 or 3 weeks away? 20 days, I think. We're 20 days out from Superman.
Are you talking about Superman, the movie? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, you said series, and I was like,
oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean series. I thought I said live action. I don't know what. Anyways, yeah. Superman is what I'm talking about. You say Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. But James Gunn admits Batman's the biggest problem in his new DC universe. So what is going on behind the cowl? So he's actually been talking about Batman, and he's like, with Matt Reeves, he's like, he's slow, but, we're going to put out something that's right, and that's the Batman supposedly, as of right now, from Elseworld. He's like he's doing it. It's almost done. It's going to be right with the writing, the screen. He's like they won't put anything out unless the screenwriting's completely done. And he
Yeah.
kind of shot some pew pews at Marvel. Was talking about
Yeah.
unlike other things, we won't put out a project unless the screenwriting is complete. We won't let it be completed partially through the way of the production or anything. He's like,
Yeah.
that's
And
that's where a lot of films fail or they really drop the ball is they don't have those completed before they start the production.
yeah. James Gunn also said that like he was struggling
Well,
with Batman because he doesn't know, like he wants to put him in more things. So he's trying to figure out like exactly where he can fit Batman, his Batman, into his
Hmm.
projects that he's creating.
Right. Yeah, and he also said he's like,
yeah, and
Batman's been
Batman
done.
is arguably DC's. Oh, sorry.
No, you're
No,
good.
I
You're
was just
good.
saying Batman is arguably DC's most valuable IP, and every portrayal is under the microscope. So fans
Hmm.
are expecting dark, gritty, and grounded, but also want fresh, emotional, franchise ready.
Hmm.
Just like the Dark Knight. That was ready. It was put together.
Hmm.
They don't want a Robert Patterson.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, he's like, we've seen Batman done in so many different ways, right? That the Michael Keaton Batman, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. We've seen the Dark Knight series. He's like, I also want to make sure I'm not doing a repeat of all the multiple versions we've seen before. He's like, Batman does have a certain storyline and undertone, but I need my Batman to make sense and it be what everybody wants, but it also needs to be unlike anything's ever seen Batman done before on screen in live action. And so, like, to really hear that, and obviously, I think James has a lot of passion and care behind what he's wanting to do. I think it's really good and important that we don't see anything close to any other Batman we've seen before. And I don't know. I'm anxious to see who he gets to play still, this Batman, because I think that's going to be a huge, huge thing too. On top of whatever the writing gets done, is the person they choose to play Bruce Wayne and Batman.
hmm
Well, and because it's Batman and you've had other Batmen in different timelines, it confuses the general audience and complicates brand clarity as well. So I feel James really wants to have that brand clarity so that hey, this is the James Gunn Batman, not something else.
Hmm. Right, and also he was asked. They're like, in the foreseeable future, is there any possible way that Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson's Batman, could be brought into the DCU universe? And he's like, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's highly, highly unlikely. He's like, for right now, it's very, very highly unlikely. He's like, that's not at all the way we want to go with this. It really needs to be an Elseworld standalone thing. He's like, but never say nothing's impossible. It's just not the direction we're trying to go.
hmm
But speaking of Batman stuff, and I'm so excited. We keep getting every time we get more news about this. I'm so happy. But Clayface now has his leading man, and with an R rating, this might be DC's darkest origin yet. And then what I love about this is this also is going to be our first look at Gotham in the new DC universe. And so one thing I will have to say that we've not gotten live action with the Batman, esque Gotham, is we've never gotten really a '90s animated series style pulled into live action, which I think is the most well loved when it comes to date on screen Batman we love, and to
hmm
think that we might be getting something like that is so great for live action because the '80s Batman, in the '90s Batman was more of a artsy industrial look at Gotham. We've seen some kind of like nowadays of Gotham, what it would be if it was nowadays. So I really hope that's the realm we go in to look at for Gotham then. But I kind of got ahead of myself. The actor for Clayface is Tom Rhys Harris, by the way. I actually can't believe I'm getting this excited about DC. I don't think I've ever been excited about DC like this ever in my life. But I'll let y'all kind of mention some stuff about this. What your thoughts are?
Ken, do you have anything? Because I mean, like I don't know how I feel about this. Ever since We had what's his face? The guy that I keep on talking about
Mike
forever and
Flanagan.
always. Yeah, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Ever since Mike Flanagan walked away from this project, I'm just like, ah.
Well,
Um,
here's saying real quick
yeah.
about Mike Flanagan. Okay, I did read this, slightly confusing, but I did read this. So we know Mike Flanagan talked about, there's new writers that took over. He had a full complete script. James Gunn loved it. Mike Flanagan stepped away. Mike Flanagan said that the new writers, I'm sure, are going to rewrite some of my story. There's no telling how much of it because they're going to want to put their own twist because they're the ones that now have it, and they're going to put their name and their spin on it. But someone other day on socials tweeted or something out to James Gunn and was like, "Hey, I'm a huge Flanagan fan. How much of the story do you think this is going to be since he's not part of this anymore?" And they're like, we're a huge 90s animated fan, and that's kind of where he pulled a lot of his inspiration from Clayface along with the animated series from Amazon. And James Gunn actually responded back and was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, reason I chose this script is because I absolutely am in love with what Mike Flanagan wrote. So this is going to be a very horror Mike Flanagan story. That's why we're going with this story. So like it's slightly confusing because I wouldn't think that these writers would take the straight adaptation that Mike Flanagan left them. I don't know. But it seems like they're really, or at least James Gunn's wanting to really lean into what Mike Flanagan wrote because he was so in love with what he wrote.
We're talking DC, so DC's always struggled against Marvel. I always joke about this that the worst Marvel movie is still better than the best DC movie. And it's just
I could
the
agree
way
with
they
that.
film it, the way they run it, the DC just I feel is always second fiddle, and they're always struggling to put out good content and a good movie and stuff. So I feel like James Gunn is under the gun for this because he is pushing a lot of the DC stuff. So he's always going to be in the limelight, but he's also going to have that pressure because he's attempting to build DC to a Marvel level.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's part of his strategy with like how like verbal or loud he is on socials and stuff is we don't get that from Marvel, right? Everybody's under the gun. They make the jokes about the Marvel snipers, sharing too much information. And I think that he knows that. And on top of, besides putting out good projects, hopefully that like he's talking about he's doing, that he's wanting to share as much as he can. And one cool thing that I will have to say, and he kind of spoke about this, is like, yeah, he's very vocal about, talking and sharing a lot about what's going on through DC. But he's like, one thing about us being able to be vocal about it is because the screenwriting's complete before we announce these projects usually. He's like, we won't announce them until we've had one in hand that's complete. He's like, unlike some places where I used to work at, he's like, you'll have these announcements that they make before screenwriting's complete, but then there's so many changes or so many things that don't get seen through because once it's written, so much stuff can change or so many things could, not be what you've talked about. And he's like, and that's one thing that we will not do. So I don't know. What do y'all think about the casting for Clayface? Though I think it's pretty good. I don't know a lot about like what his resume is, but visually, I think he definitely has that look. That he could pull off. I like how like structured and chiseled out his face is because we get to see that in a lot with in animated series and with him like shaping being a Clayface shifting and stuff. I think it's really cool to have really defined features in his face. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of like what they do with it, like how much kind of like special effects or how much realism with like prosthetics and stuff that they're gonna use. I'm really interested to see how they do it.
Yeah. For sure. Also, I thought this was pretty neat. This is kind of wraps up our last topic for DC. But the Guardians are crashing into Metropolis. Gunn is bringing his Marvel favorites into the Superman world, and the roles may not be that big, but they're still there. So it shows once again that love and support that they have from working with each other in the past.
Hmm.
But we have Bradley Cooper, Michael Rooker, and Palm, who have roles in the Superman, and they're supposed to be all being other voices of the Kryptonian bots, which is also along with Alan Tudyk. But
Yeah,
Alan
except for
Tudyk's going.
Bradley Cooper. We
Oh,
don't
you're
know
right.
what he's going to be yet.
It's a mystery still. We don't know if it's going to be that or something else actually. But I think it's pretty cool, even for small roles, just to really show
And
how
you
much
forgot
respect.
one other person, Sean. Sean is going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn's going to be Lord Maxwell. Yeah, which that's going to be his face, and he's going to have a big role. So I think him being his brother, he kind of deserves a bigger role. Anyways, that brotherly love and support is a little different.
I think it's insane because like I grew up with Sean Gunn being on Gilmore Girls, and for him to have like started with Gilmore Girls and grown into who he is now is absolutely amazing.
For sure.
But still has his like quirkiness.
Them two are the best thing that came out of Missouri. I'm just saying it.
Damn.
Uh, I'm just saying. But all right, that kind of wraps us up with DC. Let's jump into some Star Wars. So, Han Solo's back on the run, but this time he's not escaping the Empire. He's hunting down the Falcon. This isn't nothing coming to the screens, but this is a new comic run that's coming out.
Yeah. It's just a little comic miniseries. It's supposed to be coming out to the comic book stores in September. It's a 5-part series. And it's supposed to take, I think, place between 6 and 7. So
Hmm.
he's on the older side, as you got to see from the comic book art there. This is coming out with the same people that are doing a Boba Fett or a Boba Fett, now however you pronounce his um, name. The Boba Fett? I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's Boba
it's just
Fett.
like a
Yeah,
yeah. See, I don't know. It just kind of glosses, and sometimes I don't think about it,
Boba
and then when
Fett.
I do,
Yeah.
Boba Fett, yeah. Um, anyway, like there's a comic run that's supposed to be coming out for the Fett. And it's like called Red, Blue, and Black or something like that, or instead of like red, white, and blue. I'm not really
Is it
sure
red,
what
green,
that
and
one's
black?
about.
That's his colors: red, green, and black.
I don't know. I say I don't know. Maybe. I didn't write it down, but that's also coming at the same time in September. But this one looks interesting because it's supposed to like be his journey to like find the Falcon again. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I like how the comic art's really staying true to that Harrison Ford, and there's some other comic art out there. I think it really keeps to the Billy D. Williams look because Lando
For Lando
Calrissian,
Calrissian?
yeah, Lando Calrissian's in
Yeah.
this as well.
Hmm.
So I like how they're really keeping that comic or not comic accurate, but that accurate look from the actors in the comic line. It just I don't know. I like it when it has a lot more continuity visual wise as well from the movies to continuations on paper. I like how they keep that and not go like too outside the box.
Yeah.
But another last couple things. Some Kathleen Kennedy news. Kathleen Kennedy says what fans have been waiting for, and this is kind of what we've been wanting for a while now. Is she says we are set after the Mandalorian Grogu movie to focus on standalone stories and expand out into the rest of the Star Wars galaxy with zero focus on the Skywalker saga or have really any tie to them. I think that's really what we've been asking for a while now. I mean, and something else that really kind of ties into this that makes sense is, she restates that, she restates that they will not recast Luke Skywalker or any saga roles from the past. A lot of fans have recently been wanting Sebastian Stan to, be cast as Luke Skywalker so they can do some more Luke Skywalker scenes or storylines. It's been played out. We're done. I personally think that y'all kind of ruined continuing the Skywalker saga from 7, 8, and 9 episodes. Y'all did not go the route I think you should have went with that. So I think that should be a wrap for Skywalker. I know Rey takes on the Skywalker name at the end of that. Maybe they'll do something with her. Maybe not. I think they should
There's
go in.
talks that she's gonna do something. So.
Yeah, but there's so much more in the galaxy out there and so many great stories that they can expand on.
Absolutely.
from the books, or even new stories that didn't even happen in the books. Because I can't even tell me how many Star Wars books have been written out there. There's really really good stories that I think would make some really good money and please the fans if they just put them to live action.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready for them to step away from Skywalker and give us something new, which is why I'm really excited for Starfighter. Uh,
Yeah,
because it has nothing to do with Skywalker, and it's got Ryan Gosling and Mia Goth, and I just love both of them. So,
yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, that's about all we got in the Star Wars stuff today. It wasn't a whole lot, but I feel like there's a couple of things that are worth mentioning. And Kathleen Kennedy, I'm still curious to see, like, she's talking out about this stuff and saying she's not being replaced, but then there's those rumors that keep coming up that she's getting replaced here soon. So I guess time will tell. But let's go ahead and jump into some educated wish.
let's go.
What could Top Gun 3 possibly do to top Maverick's billion-dollar flight path? So supposedly the script is being done, and
Yeah,
yeah, the director says it's super ambitious. So
I don't know what that means, but here we
Why?
go.
Why? Why? Why?
I don't know. Well,
Like,
what's
stop
wild
at
is
two.
just
Stop at two. We'll go number three.
It should have stopped
yeah.
at one,
No,
honestly, for
2 was
me.
good. 2 was really good. I felt like.
No. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 was good. I think it real. I personally, I love. I'm a fan of the first one. I think it topped the first one, and not a lot of things can do that. I don't think from the 80s or like 90s when they have like
Like,
really
we're
good
gonna
strong first.
fight.
I'm just saying, but like you went off on a high note there. Why not just end it? Here's what's super confusing to me. Like Tom Cruise spoke out like 2 or 3 weeks ago saying Top Gun 3 is in the works, but it's way on down the road. He's like, don't expect anything soon, come of it, because he's wanting to do Days of Thunder 2 as well. And he's like, I got some other irons in the
Oh
fire.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so don't expect this anytime soon.
Nicole Kidman is
Yeah,
supposed to be in that with him, and then everybody's been talking about how weird that is
yeah,
because they met, they got married, they got divorced, and now they're
I don't know.
doing the second one. I don't know. I don't know.
But Tom Cruise being as intense as the guy he is, and to hear that this is more of an ambitious story than the second one, it's got me scary. I mean, we see how the Mission Impossibles constantly evolved into some crazier stuff. I'm just wondering, like, what other level of crazy is going to happen in Top Gun 3 for them to say this. But I don't know. I guess, I don't know.
I don't know, dogfighting, but like even closer. I don't know,
The
like you can't get closer in dogfighting, but sorry, what were you saying, Ken?
Oh, I was just saying, what, the airplane now does a 360 and shoots lasers?
While Tom
With
Cruise is
laser
hanging
beam.
onto the wing, he's like strapped on the wing outside the cockpit somehow. I don't know, because AI is flying. He has an AI partner now flying the plane while he's out on the wing doing some crazy stuff. I don't even know.
Most fighter jets only have one seat, and then yeah, you can't get out of the cockpit other than ejecting, and then you can't get back into the cockpit to fly it again. But anyway,
But this
what
is
do I know?
ambitious. But
What
this
do
is
I know?
ambitious, so that's why it's going to change. Dang. On to things that they just won't let die. The slasher is back, and the new trailer teases more blood, more secrets, and a very personal revenge. I Know What You Did Last Summer now has a second trailer, I guess, that has dropped now. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we get to see Jennifer Love Hewitt, and
Hmm.
Freddie Prinze Jr. reprise some roles. And
Yeah.
yeah, just like, why won't you let some franchises just go and let's be more original? But I'll probably watch this in streaming. I don't know if I'll make it to theaters to see this, but
I will 100% not be. It's in July. July 18th. You got time in
oh
July
no,
to
I have
do
no time
things?
for this. This will definitely be a streaming thing for me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so it's a little bit different from what we saw in the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. So in all of these movies, they're driving and they're talking with their friends, and then they hit somebody and they're like, "Oh, is he dead? He's dead. We're just gonna drive away. We're not gonna call the cops because that would be too sensical." So in this trailer, they got to kind of show you what actually happened last summer. Um, and I don't know what they were doing in the middle of the street, but a car came around the bend and then like crashed off the cliff. And that's what happened last summer is that car crashed into, I guess, off the cliff, and they just walked away or drove away because they had their car
Mm.
there. Um, and then like it's all happening again because they're getting married.
The wedding
I don't know, a
shower or
couple
something,
months
wasn't
later.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a wedding shower. She opens a card. It says, "I know what you did last summer." Dum dum
Yeah, she's like, I
dum.
wonder if it's cash. I wonder if it's a check. Like,
Mm.
dude, okay, here we go. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I read all the books. I watched the movies, that were like in the 90s or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know why we're doing this. I'm happy to see that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are back. Sarah Michelle Gellar said she wasn't going to be back, but I don't know.
She's
We'll
too
just kind of
busy
see.
doing Dexter, which is okay. And we'll see
Yeah.
if I'm not sure if there'll be a second season for that since that was a prequel story. But like I think it was so well loved, there's a good chance there will be a second season for that. So
I don't know. Only time
well,
will tell.
I think it'll happen because we still didn't get to see Harry's death, and I think that they'll finish that out with showing Harry's death. So I think it's a strong possibility. But speaking of things, I'm not sure what they're doing. Woody versus Wi-Fi, a tech-savvy tablet villain, is coming to Toy Story 5, and the toy box will never be the same. So we have a visual here. It looks like a little leapfrog.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. So at least they went with like a educational tech savvy toy. I guess I don't
And
know.
it's not
Disney
like
just needs
a
to
regular
stop.
iPod.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry, because you're still gonna also have Incredibles 3 and Frozen 3 and 4, and there's probably gonna
Hmm.
be a Moana 3. Who we're joking? And then I don't know. We'll see how that kind of goes after that. I feel like I'm missing something else. Another
Well,
sequel.
I do say it's strong to say like after How to Train Your Dragon, came out, Disney could really take some lessons and some tips from DreamWorks on animated to live action adaptation because that was phenomenal. Unlike
I'm gonna go see
Disney's.
it today at
Yeah.
3 o'clock, so
Oh my God,
I'm
so
excited.
good. I mean, and there was so much scene for scene things, and that's what people love. Like Disney wants to be too creative or change too many things. Like there were some slight things changed in How to Train Your Dragon, but it was so well adapted from lines and from screenplays from animated to live action. The slight changes they made, it worked and it was great. Like you don't have to change so much stuff dramatically from why it was well loved to where it's not going to be as well loved because it's completely different now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see kind of like how this plays out. This comes out in June of next year, but Disney also announced at the same time that this came out about the tech-savvy tablet as being their main villain. They also released a new Pixar film that they're working on called Gato, which
Hmm.
is cat. Um, and so this is supposed to take place in Italy, and it's about a like black cat that's like looking for his purpose. So I guess we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't know. I feel like Pixar has been doing good things, and I like that they're doing something original.
Hmm.
I've heard that Elio, the movie that just came out this weekend, has completely bombed.
Oh no. I
But
actually want to see that.
I think it's because of How to Train Your Dragon still being out and that doing really well. No, Kent says no. Kent, why?
Oh, well, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think Pixar is doing a lot of great original stuff, where Disney just second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, come on, Toy Story. I'm not going to even waste my time going to the theater to watch that. I'll
Yeah.
let it go to Disney Plus where I can watch it later on. And it's like, really? Come on, like. I personally have been around long enough. I want original stuff. And there's so many scripts that are just sitting there on the
Hmm.
tables of original stuff that could be done, but they want to create version 5 and 6. And it's just like, please stop. Just 1 was good, 2 is all right. Yeah, stop right there.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how
like
the
they're too
Goofy
scared.
movie became a thing.
Yeah.
Like because it wasn't supposed to be an actual movie. Like they just took a chance with the script, but they didn't put any resources into it because they were creating The Lion King and they were like, The Lion King is gonna be the thing. And Goofy movie is now a cult classic as well as Lion King, but um like that just comes to show you that like if you give people their creative time that they can create something that is worthwhile.
Yeah, it's like don't be scared for putting out too much like so much original stuff. I mean, like you said, there's scripts just sitting there, just waiting to be approved or be greenlit, and it's like you don't have to ride these cash cows because like if you ride them too long, you run them into the ground, and then they end up not even making the cash that you were hoping to.
John
Yeah.
Wick, right there.
Speaking of which, you want to tell us your thoughts of Ballerina, Tay?
So I went and watched Ballerina yesterday. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We preference that. There were some really cool fighting scenes, but as for me recommending it, I would wait for it to come out to any type of streaming. I wouldn't tell you to go watch it in theaters. There was really cool fighting scenes, like I said, but there were also really corny parts of that movie. Um, and I was like, that's a movie I watched. Cool, moving on.
There's a lot of hype around it too.
Is
But
there though? Is there?
I
I
mean,
mean, like, so there was one part where I was like, I was damn near in tears. And like, we saw, like, there was a poster, I guess, that came out that we completely missed. So I didn't know that this was going to happen. But Lance Reddick, it was his last, like, actual filmed,
hmm,
like,
before he passed
performance
away.
was that movie. Yeah, because he did all of his filming and all of his parts before he had passed in 2023, and this came out just now in 2025. So I mean, you know, we walk into the Continental or the like, you know, the screen kind of like shows the Continental, and then it goes in, and then you see somebody like behind the counter. But I'm like, okay, so who's you know, like who's the new man? Who's my new man? And it was Lance, and I damn near almost cried because I was like, damn. He really was like a phenomenal, and he still is. I mean, he's still a phenomenal actor. Even with like him doing the Destiny 2 roles,
Hmm.
which is a game that I still play to this day. So, yeah, it was real. That was like the
Yeah,
really
when I
cool
saw
part about
that,
it.
yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
that part, I actually had to Google it to be like, is this CGI or is this actually
Same.
him? Because I was like, I know that he had filmed a lot, but I was like, he passed away. Like, there's no way this is him.
Yeah.
They CGI'd this, and so I'm in the movie theater, like undercover, like, oh yeah, that is real. It's actually him. Because I was like,
Hmm.
and then I felt a very overwhelming part on that is like, oh good, he's in this. All right, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
actually got goosebumps on my arms from
Hmm.
it because it's like, cool, he was in this.
Yeah, yeah. I Googled it this morning because I watched it last night, and I was like, I gotta figure it out. And I completely forgot to last night because I was doing stuff for the podcast. And then this morning I was like, I got time. Quick Google search. Oh my God. I took a screenshot, sent it to my husband, and I was like, did you know that was actually him? Because we actually thought it was AI too. We were like, did he even sign himself over to AI? Like we had like all these questions, but yeah, it was really cool.
But we got some miscongeniality news. I'll let you.
Yes. Those of you who have seen Miss Congeniality, Sandra Bullock, you know, she is a police officer turned beauty queen, and there's Miss Congeniality 1 and a 2, but Miss Rhode Island, who is her best friend that likes to take long walks on a beach and enjoys the perfect date is like somewhere where she could wear a light jacket. I can't remember exactly like her phrase, but there's like a whole thing about it. But Miss Rhode Island actually teased that she would be so down to do a Miss Congeniality 3. But are we ready for another one? I don't
No.
think so, honestly. Like
Well,
I'm at the part where I'm just like, okay, one was absolutely amazing. Two was it was here in Vegas, they were at the strip and
yeah.
yeah,
Funny, funny thing is,
there.
for her to say that, Sandra Bullock, the main star, obviously, says quite the opposite. Like, she's talked about Miss Congeniality 3, and she's like, I absolutely hate sequels, and I will never do a third one, actually. So, yeah, I'm curious to see, like, if there was, which obviously I know, like, some people may say that, but then I know when there's an offer on the table, numbers on that check can change someone's mind as well. So,
I don't know, because she didn't come back for Speed 2.
it's true. It's true. I
She
mean,
only
she.
did Speed 1 or Speed.
Mhm.
So,
So if they do a third one, it may
I
take
don't
place of another officer or something like that, where I don't know. I don't if
yeah,
they do a third one, I don't think Sandra Bullock would be in it.
yeah. Although she was in the second Miss Congeniality, but
Hmm.
yeah. Hmm, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't think that she would do a third one. I think she is done with that. And she has like so many other things that she's doing that I don't think that she would like be like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do now. I
Right.
don't know. But Netflix is actually getting physical. They got some houses that they're opening in two different cities. I think it's late this year. So they have two Netflix houses opening in Philadelphia, and then the other one's in Dallas. And they have actually a third one planned to open up in my city, Las Vegas, in 2027. But the houses are supposed to feature immersive rooms.
That's cool.
And so some of these rooms are like based off of like their shows, right? So they have like a Stranger Things one, they have a Squid Games one, they had like I think a One Piece one as well.
Hmm.
And like you can look online, they have like for Dallas and Philadelphia, they already have the layout of what it kind of looks like, and it actually looks kind of cool. Um, but each house is actually also going to have something called Netflix Bites, which is actually already here. There's a fly in my nose. Okay, so there's gonna be like every house is going to have a restaurant called Netflix Bites, which actually is already here in Las Vegas. And it's a Netflix inspired restaurant. So I got to kind of look at the menu of the one here in Vegas, and like you get like let's say chicken tenders, and on the chicken tenders it comes with a wheel and like three sauces, and you spin the wheel, and that's like your Squid Game, is that you like get to
Oh
Russian
wow.
roulette kind of like what kind
That's
of sauce
great.
you're gonna put on your chicken tender. Also with their drinks and their desserts and everything, all of them have their own themes, which I thought was really cool, and I'm looking forward to eventually going to this restaurant. I think it closes in August, so I have to go before then.
It's wild to think like where Netflix came from and how quick they've grown. Like you go from DVDs in the box, or not the box, but from ordering them
In
online,
mail.
shipping them
Yeah.
back, yeah, and then to the streaming service to now they're creating their own. I mean, like Universal Studios type thing. Like it's insane the pace that they've grown at. Considering like if you
Yeah.
think along like Disney World, Universal Studios, like how long those have been around and how long they've been established to where Netflix has done this in what in the past 12, 15 years. I mean, it was where
Yeah,
they
but that's also the thing with Disney and Universal is that they're constantly changing their rides or their attractions or shows to meet the newer generation.
hmm. Well, no, I'm just talking
So,
about like just. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Amazon does this next. I mean, like Amazon doesn't. I don't think has as many titles for like immersive worlds. I don't think like
no, they would do a 007. Are you kidding me? They just
well,
bought it.
yeah.
So
I mean, just now. I
100% they
mean,
would.
they're on their way there, But
Yeah.
Amazon is also not as old as Netflix. But it's just crazy to think, and I'm here for it. But it's given us this many more places to go and visit eventually. It's just wild to think that we've had like Disney Universal all these years, and like yeah, they're constantly evolving and changing. But now we're getting these streaming services that are creating these, experiences like this as well. It's just crazy to think, I guess, from like what there was as a kid, as I was
Mm,
as a kid, as what there is now, and where things are evolving and growing to.
yeah, technology. It's wild.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think, a lot of
You guys, yeah,
do it.
just the technology and how it's evolved over the years. It's just funny because, like, back in my days, if it was on TV and you didn't catch it, you missed it. And then the best thing to do was record it on a VHS
TiVo.
tape recorder, and you
Oh,
we
okay.
didn't have live streaming. We had VHS, and you put it in, and you could set the timer, and you hope that the VCR recorded it on time and didn't
Yeah.
cut it at the end of the show and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
live streaming nowadays, I mean, even my daughter, bloop, she just hits the button and she can watch it. She can pause it. She can walk away, watch it 2 days later. And I'm like, technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a
But
bittersweet thing too, because like I think why film, cinema and theaters, are losing box office money is because of streaming as well. Streaming is amazing and it's so convenient, but at the same time, I think it's truly hurting the film industry when it comes to the big screen.
yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, just like social media. But like with VHSs, like my parents used to do that, or we used to have it like, on we would like, videotape with our camcorders or whatever. And we would tape something and sometimes like my sister and I being younger, we wouldn't check the tape and we would accidentally over record something and that happened a couple of times where we were like making our own home little videos and we were doing a weather forecast or something. I don't know, we were two tiny girls, like just let's go like pretend we're news anchors, and we ended up taping over something, which was like really sad, if you come to think about it. But it's actually quite funny as well. So
I love
yeah, I'm
seeing
I'm
that.
happy how like technology has transpired that you don't have to have that issue, but I don't know.
Speaking of
It's
that, I
also
love that.
scary.
I love that meme that's out there with the VHS tape, and it shows like somebody's sports game, like their kid's sports game, and it's marked out, and it says like the Predator movie, and it's like, oh, they didn't give a shit about about Junior's sports game. They taped over it with the Predator movie or something like that. I don't know.
You just have to think about the fact that they had to rewind it because obviously they had watched the sports game and been like, whatever. We had to rewind the tape in
Yeah.
order to rewrite over it because, you had to wait for it to rewind. Oh my God. Or sit there with a fucking pencil and just.
But speaking of Predator, the mind behind Prey and the most recent Predator, Killer of Killers, is already cooking his next big thing. He's already got a fourth project lined up after Predator Badlands releases. So I just keeps making me happy, just like the Alien stuff keeps coming out. Keep on with the Predator. I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for them to announce that they're going to do another Predator versus Alien movie.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
going to
so
happen.
yeah, he had said that it's just like a secret project, but that was the reason why he really wanted to rush and why we got two Predator like kind of franchise stuff in this year, two movies actually, is that we got Predator Killer of Killers and we're getting Predator Badlands later on this year. And the reason
Hmm.
why he did that was because he's just so excited about what's happening next. Um, so I don't I don't want them to do a Alien versus Predator yet because we're just like
Getting into
rebuilding
it.
our Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
Um,
sense.
so I would want, I guess, like another Prey 2 or somewhere where we're evolving the Predator and his heat-seeking skills that maybe he realizes that like he can use some type of armor and starts doing that. I don't know really
Hmm.
what I want yet out of like Predator because I know that like he's got his teeth and
Let's see. So, well, man, there's a lot of stuff talking about stuff that's 5 and 6 and 7s. So Pirates 6 will have some familiar faces and are expected to return possibly. And it's called A Day at Sea is what the so I don't know. How do y'all feel about this? Do you think they should keep making Pirates movies? And Johnny Depp said that he would never come back for a pirate movie. But then
Yeah, it's
now,
Orlando Bloom that said that he's like,
yeah,
we're coming back, baby. And I was just
yeah.
like, oh my God.
So I don't know. I don't know.
I, I would have been
I
fine
mean,
with them ending it at 5, honestly.
yeah, and
I
I
think
love
it was,
Well,
Pirates.
no, Kent, what's up?
yeah. In that, I know Johnny Depp said he wasn't going to do it, but then with the whole court case thing that he was going through, he just kind of wanted to stay out of the limelight for Disney and things like that. But once
Hmm.
it was cleared and he was in good terms with everybody, there was already negotiations for him to do 3 more movies for Pirates. So I'm not surprised. I mean, the franchise has done very well. The writers on it do an extremely well job. I mean, if you watch all the other pirate movies, you don't, even if you didn't watch them in order, you'd like, oh, this is a good movie, you know. So
Yeah,
for them to do this one, it's probably the next 3, one of 3 that he's going to do.
Oh, okay.
nice. I will have
I
to
didn't
say,
know
like,
that he
even
had
though
signed.
there's so many, I will say this is one of those franchises. There is so many of them, but they have kept a really strong success in them. Even though there's 5 of them. Like there's some people who don't like care for it without Johnny Depp, but then or Johnny Depp was not in one of them. Wasn't he? Or was he in all of
He's
them?
been
Or
in
is it?
all of them.
No, it's Orlando Bloom. That
Yeah.
wasn't in all of them.
Orlando.
But
hmm
yeah. But they've all done successful. So, and it's also like one of the OG rides, that they inspired the movies from Disney World. So,
Yeah.
but so he's already a Lantern. But could Aaron Pierre be a Bond? There is new rumors putting him in the running for to be 007. So, what do y'all think about this? I haven't. I don't think I've seen a lot of stuff that he's in for me to really make a judgment call on this. I
hmm
really would like to see his role in Lanterns, and then probably make a judgment call. Uh, but what do y'all think?
Well, if we're talking Bond, everybody that I know wants Henry Cavill because he's got the look, the swagger, he's got the finesse that a Bond needs. And
Mm,
the best one was Pierce Brosnan, and obviously he handed it down over to Daniel Craig, and he did an okay job at best. But I feel Henry Cavill. I mean, he fits the role of James Bond, like hands down. Like you put a vote out there between these two, it's gonna be unanimous.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can completely see that. But on the other side of the coin for like me, my thoughts or my opinions is that I'm excited that they're maybe thinking about someone new because as of right now, we've only had one type of Bond. And I really would have liked to see Idris Elba do it. I know he is on the older
Mm,
side, but like to have someone of um browner skin is how I'm gonna say it, be in this role. I think that would be interesting to just kind of see like because I don't think that like all of James Bond should just be one
mm.
kind of ethnicity. I think that there's a lot of people out there that have the ability to play this role, and I'm looking forward to them at least trying it out. Now, if it crashes and burns, it crashes and burns, right? But I don't know.
I
I'm
think
kind
the
of
I think
like,
Have
the
you,
main important thing
heard
is
Trevor Noah?
I'm sorry.
Have you heard Trevor Noah's reasoning why Idris Elba wouldn't do a good job as James Bond? Because, when he's running through the town in Sweden, they're like, oh, and he's running through the village. He's the only black person
He
in,
stands out.
in the village.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
to get him. But I've always had the argument of Daniel Craig died in the last one, but he had a daughter. And why couldn't we have a woman James Bond? Like, why couldn't his daughter, it's been time has passed now and she's old enough. You could get somebody to step in as his daughter as the new James Bond.
Yeah.
And they kind of were hitting on that in the last movie because, he wasn't Bond, but then the girl was 007 and they were passing, the two shirts. Who's actually 007? Is it the girl or is it him? And then, oh my gosh, he's got a daughter. Well, like, why can't we pass the torch? Everything, everybody wants to be PC. Then, well, let's add a female Bond in and have his daughter be the James Bond.
I think that's awesome. I would love to see that too. I just want something different from what we have seen. Because I'm not saying that Pierce Brosnan hasn't done amazing, because I grew up with Pierce Brosnan being my James Bond, and being in Mrs. Doubtfire. But like, really, like, he was that guy because he got Halle Berry. Like, that was my girl crush. Like, I've talked about it all the time.
Speaking of Bond is revving up. Amazon's locking in a director and finalizing the script before casting the new 007. So there's casting rumors, but apparently they are still. I mean, I think we talked one time about how they're fast tracking this, right? They're not wanting to take their time. So this really goes to prove that they truly are fast tracking, putting out another Bond series since they've taken over and owned the franchise now.
Yeah, this has been the longest time that we haven't had a James Bond. It's been since 2012 was the last one of No Time to Die came out.
Has it really been that long? Oh, wow.
It's been the longest we haven't had a new Bond movie come out. So I think that's also why MGM is like, all right, we need to fast track this movie. But they're having issues like getting writers, and we officially have the producers, as we talked about in a couple of episodes ago. But we're now just trying to get a director, and then once that's done, then we're going to finish up the script, and once the script is done, then we're going to get 007. Once we get that, then we're going to start taping, hopefully. And I think they said when did they say for they didn't say anything about taping, never mind. Yeah,
so Harold and Kumar apparently are back as well, with the chaos now in the hands of the Cobra Kai team. So yeah, this Cobra Kai, was it creators, I guess, or writers? They're the ones writing this new sequel. So yeah, don't know if we have any Harold and Kumar fans out there, but they are coming back. It makes me wonder too, like, I wonder if they're going to get Randall Reeder back in there, because we've had Randall on the show and he was in Escape to Guantanamo Bay.
Kenton, you're not happy about that? You don't want a Harold and Kumar sequel?
No. No.
I wasn't like a huge fan of keeping up with their fans.
But for those of you that are fans of NCIS, it's one of the like longest running naval TV shows. I grew up on it, but there is a couple in it, and they were Tony and Ziva. And they are officially back with a new spin-off series that is premiering this fall, September 4th on Paramount Plus. So I really did like Tony, and the guy that played him, Michael Weatherly, I want to say was his name. I could be completely wrong, and sorry if I am. But like, I think that they had a really great chemistry, but he is now like on the older side, so I'm kind of like curious of how they're gonna do this, and what the plan of this spinoff is. I haven't really honestly followed NCIS since I changed my career field and going into the military, so it's just something that I haven't seen since.
Yeah, I've watched it like growing up as a kid in our household, but I don't think I've, like, since I've been moved out of my household from a child, I don't think I've watched it since. So I am definitely way behind in keeping up with their storyline. But Final Destination Bloodlines available to buy digital and physical copies on July 22nd. So This is something we kind of kept up with, and I went to the theaters to see. Did you see? I can't remember. Did you go see this?
No.
You were waiting for it to
No, I
stream,
did
weren't
not.
you? Yeah.
Yes, so you can officially buy it right now digitally. And AD and I talked about it yesterday, and we were like, no. And you can get the physical copies, on the 22nd. We are straight up just waiting. Max, HBO, whatever you want to call it these
Hmm.
days, has all of the like 1 through 4, maybe 5. I can't remember. I'm always iffy on that, how many there are, but uh that just means that Max is eventually going to have this, so
Mm.
I'm just gonna post and wait it out.
Well, I'll say
I
from
got enough
watching it
on
in
my plate.
theaters, it has some fun, gruesome deaths in it, but it's definitely worth waiting for streaming. Not one you
It's
want
like
to rush and make
ballerina.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But for those of you that are like into Silent Hill, Silent Hill is finally returning and they're getting a sequel. So go ahead and wait up for 2026. We officially got a date for this, and I know a lot of people that are into the video games are excited for it. I don't really know a lot about Silent Hill, but it's going to be called Return of Silent Hill or Return to Silent Hill, and it's going to be January 23rd, 2026.
Yep. Let's see. So, from chef to boss, Jeremy Allen White transforms into Bruce Springsteen in this intimate career-defining biopic. I've seen the trailer of this past week, and I'm looking forward to this. I like Jeremy Allen White. I think he's a great actor. There's not too much roles I've seen that I'm like, this guy is phenomenal in acting. I absolutely love The Bear. I'm not even a wrestling fan, but The Iron Claw he did really good in. But yeah, being a big music fan that I am, I'm excited to see this one. Have y'all seen the trailer that came out this past week?
No. Hold on, sorry.
No.
Someone's just decided to just do the weirdest shit. All right, we're good. Sorry. But no, I haven't seen the trailer. I didn't know that there was a trailer.
Mm.
I was just like, I saw the name and I was like, Deliver Me from Nowhere. And I was like, is that like, I don't think it's like one of his songs or anything, but I'm also not fully aware of the span of Bruce Springsteen's songs. I know a couple, but
Hmm.
not like a lot.
Yeah, I think like from the trailer and stuff, he's doing a pretty good portrayal from it. So I'm anxious to see this. But it comes out October 24th is when that comes out. Something I am super excited about. Season 2 of The Sandman lands in July, July 3rd exactly, and the new arc promises darker realms and even deeper dreams. Um, the first season was done phenomenally well. I've never kept up with the comics, but I know the people that know the comics that Neil did. They said like the first season was spot on, almost like portrayed perfectly from the page onto screen. So I'm
Hmm.
sure this second season is going to be the exact same thing. But if you've not seen the first season, push through the first couple of episodes. It's a little slow, and you're like, I don't know about this. But then like when season 3 hits, it gets really really good.
Yeah. Isn't this the one that they said isn't coming back for season 3? They
Right.
already said that it. Okay.
Yeah, so
So this is it.
Neil, the creator of the story, I can't think of his last name, but his first name's Neil. Um, is it Neil Gaiman? I think maybe. But
I don't know.
anyways, I think he's recently in some controversial legal issues.
Okay.
So I think that's why, like after this season, they're like, "Yep, this is done." Uh, they don't want that overshadowing, I guess, the possible success to continue on the story. So probably a smart move, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Um,
the first Sandman? Any of y'all seen the Sandman on Netflix?
No.
nope.
All right. Well, it's good. You should. I'll let you go.
But Kent was talking about Henry Cavill and how he should be James Bond, but he is coming out with the Highlander reboot, and a fellow with a voice of the name of Russell Crowe has actually officially joined the cast for this. So um, I don't know if either of you are familiar with Highlander, but it's something that I watched when I grew up. I don't know. But it was like a very big 80s movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, my
yeah.
dad was a big Highlander fan, so I've seen all the Highlanders growing up,
Mhm.
TV show and the movies. So I am excited for this reboot. I think Henry Cavill's a perfect cast for to play a Highlander, and he's a huge nerd himself. So I think he'll make sure to stick true, and have a lot of care for the character and where they're going to take this storyline. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
Oh yeah, Henry Cavill is a big sci-fi fantasy kind of guy.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what was he in Witch Hunter? Like he had
The Witcher.
read the whole trip. Witcher,
hmm
The Witcher. He had read it, knew it. So when he got that role, he was super excited about that. So for him to be into this and do this, especially hopefully it gets filmed in Scotland and London area. So
right.
and from what I've heard, the filming start in September 2025 and will be in New York, Hong Kong, Scotland, London, and it's a blend of old with the new.
Nice,
Ooh,
nice.
that's exciting.
Um, But speaking of classics, the cult classic gets a glow up. Toxic Avenger is back with a grotesque, hilarious vengeance, and yeah, the trailer just dropped, and it looks so good. And we may end up before the movie comes out. We're going to try to get Spencer Wilding back on here. He said he wants to come on before this releases and talk more about the movie, since now he can actually talk a little bit more about it, but not too much about it. And this looks grotesque and crazy and
It looks
hilarious.
hilarious. It's from the same guy
Yeah,
that did Terrifier 3. So I mean like really what did you expect?
right.
But Peter Dinklage going around as Toxie just like
Yes.
throwing spears and taking people's heads off, insane.
Yeah. And
I
that mop he
absolutely
carries around, like it's whacking the jaw off that guy.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm about to whack the microphone off. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be fun, and there's so much homage and true like scenes I've seen like from the old one, because I've
Mhm.
recently watched the original finally, and yeah,
You did
yeah,
that.
I did that, and there was a lot of WTF moments, but yeah. I'm anxious to see this one though, just because I know it's going to be that cheesy, corny vibe, but just because of like how far practical effects and CGI has
Yeah.
come, which I think we're going to see a lot more practical effects than we will CGI in this. But I'm curious
Yeah,
to
did you see
see.
Elijah Wood? He looks
Yeah,
very practical as he
yeah,
was in Kevin Bacon. Both of them
yeah,
absolutely. Just like what they look like is what, you know, they put the makeup on is what that was.
yeah, for sure. Have you seen the trailer for Toxic Avenger, Kent?
I have not.
Dude, it's worth the check. Like it's funny. I don't know if you've seen any of the original ones from the '80s, but yeah, I mean like realize there's even a scene they show in the trailer with him wearing that pink tutu. So like they're even sticking to the pink tutu scene and stuff when he transforms. But
Yep.
yeah, the Fokker family isn't done yet. Apparently, Owen Wilson joins the chaos and meets the parents for. Uh, this is another franchise that I did not keep up with. The first one
Mm-mm.
was funny, but man, I didn't realize it was so successful that they're going to keep trying to draw this one out as well. But
I think that the first one was, and then people forgot about the second and third one, which is why the fourth one probably will have something. It also has Ariana Grande in it. Owen Wilson apparently was in a different one of the Meet the Parents.
The second one.
Is oh, see, there you go. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So November 2026 is when you can expect that.
yay. um, but A24 diving into the horror history. Crystal Lake is officially filming, and we get our first behind the scene photo, which is this right here, Mama's Boy. Which isn't like a whole lot, obviously what's going on, but I'm actually anxious to see this. I
Well, it's
like,
a it's a Camp Crystal Lake prequel, and it's all
Yeah,
about his mom.
right.
And so I mean that makes sense that they're gonna
No,
have
yeah.
like an episode called Mama's Boy or something.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited for this because I'm super into horror. I love A24. A24 has done me some a little bit dirty, but um, I am excited for this.
Yeah, I am too. I'm anxious to see like I think this might if they do this right, I think it could stand out outside of like a lot of adjacent things that projects has been done the last few anyways. But I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
on Peacock that it's supposed to be coming out as well. So it's going
Right.
to be straight into streaming, as we were talking about before, the shows that are just streaming. So I think it's Peacock original is what it's going to be.
I'm ready to get some like behind the scenes photos of like set photos instead of like this. I think we talked a couple weeks ago of that one where they were like building the set. But
Mm, yes.
and last on the list for today, Sin Never Sleeps. Max is betting big on Sinners and dropping July 4th. If you've not seen this movie, what are you doing with your life? This is a great movie. If you missed it in theaters, do not miss it when it comes out streaming on Max. It's so good. And you finally just recently seen it too, didn't you? This
I
past week or
did.
two? Yeah.
This past weekend, it was like a Father's Day thing that we decided we were going to watch, and it was absolutely worth it. Totally lived up to the hype. Very happy that I watched it.
Oh, but I think I did I go to theaters twice to see that? No, I didn't. I thought I went twice to see it actually, but I was thinking about going twice to see it. Have you seen Sinners, Kent?
I have not. Now I'm like intrigued because Tay was like, "Oh, it's more than I expected." So I'm like,
It's good. It
uh,
like
Yeah.
the cinematography is beautiful in it. There's certain scenes
is
in
that
there.
with
It's like,
Michael
oh
B.
wow.
Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he plays a twin, and it's by Ryan Coogler. And it was, if you're into music, even just a little bit, you will
Yeah.
love this movie.
Yeah. Especially a certain scene. So,
There you
Yeah.
go.
but well, Kent, want to thank you so much for joining us today on today's episode. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure we'll have people see more of you sometime in the future and collabing together at future events. So, but that kind of wraps us this week for Fundamentals. We'll catch everybody next week.
Peace.
Awesome.